G'day, Corbinate2000 here. I'm back with another Borderlands 3 character build for you guys, as I'm going to be revisiting my melee Amara build I did a while back. This updated build, which I've dubbed the Fist of the Wind, is the strongest melee build in the game, and I mean that. It is legitimately the strongest melee build in the game. I'm not saying that for the clickbait, it is truth. This is the only melee build, to my knowledge, that is Mayhem 4 viable. It can mob insanely easily, and it can destroy most bosses. Now, how is this possible, you might be wondering? Well, this is actually because of the brand new Spiritual Driver class mod that Amara got. This class mod increases your gun damage while you're moving. The quicker you move, the more gun damage you get. And this is actually insanely strong, but you're thinking it says gun damage, how is this helpful for a melee build? Well, observe. As you can see, I'm standing still. I do 23k damage while just sitting here punching him. Now I did 28. I did 27. 28 again. 26. 27. 33. Yeah, it's boosting melee damage. Or actually, I don't think it's boosting melee damage exactly. I think it's boosting elemental damage while moving. And because Amara has this skill called Illuminated Fist, which converts your melee damage to whatever element your action skill element is, your fists basically do elemental damage, which I believe is what's happening here. The Spiritual Driver class mod is sensing your melee attacks as elemental damage and is saying that because you're moving you get bonus damage. This, and it scales pretty much the exact same way with as the guns do, and this also includes damage over times you can inflict with melee attacks, and it's nuts. So yeah, I'll just quickly show off the build that I'm using. So first off, you want Phase Slam. This simply is just the best action skill to have for a melee build, because anointments you can get an anointment that increases your melee damage by 200% after Phase Slam, and that's ideal for a melee build. Next, you want to max out Clarity. This gives you health regen. The lower your health is, the more powerful it is. This is just a very good thing for survivability, and I prefer the health regen over just pure base health, since we don't really have a way of getting our health back besides health regen. I put 1 point in Root to Rise. This just increases your maximum health. I only use this just to help get down the skill tree a bit further. I then max out Helping Hands. This gives, after action skill, this increases your damage. It gives you damage reduction, and this is very good for survivability. I then max out Samsara. Whenever you damage an enemy with your action skill, you gain stacks of Samsara. Each stack increases your gun damage and health regen, and this is another good skill for survivability. You want to grab Find Your Center. This increases your melee damage, and after your action skill, you gain increased melee range. Just a skill every melee build should have. You'll then want to grab 3 stack all ranks of Mindfulness. Whenever you take damage, you gain a stack of Mindfulness. Every stack of Mindfulness improves your shield recharge delay and movement speed. And considering, the fucking Spiritual Driver class mod increases your damage while moving, this is insanely strong. The shield recharge delay is an irritation for a melee build, but there are ways of bypassing that. Next, you want to grab all ranks of One with Nature. This increases your maximum health and your elemental damage resistance to your currently equipped action skill element. So this is either Fire, Shock, or Corrosive, whichever one you're running. I prefer this over Root to Rise, as the elemental damage reduction is a nice thing. Then I grab Guardian Angel. Whenever you enter fight for your life, you just immediately get back up. You can do this every 2 minutes. This is an insanely good skill, as it basically is a get out of jail free card. I then put 1 point in to do unto others. Basically, whenever you damage, you send out an energy ball that is attuned to your action skill element, and it has a short cooldown. This is just free damage, and it's just kind of cool. If you really don't like this skill, I'd recommend putting another point into Root to Rise just for extra health. Last off, you want Blitz. This is your melee override skill, as this allows you to lunge at enemies, dealing elemental melee damage, which is pretty much nullified with Illuminated Fist. If Blitz kills an enemy, the cooldown is reset and it deals increased melee damage. They're all very solid skills. Next, go into Fist of the Elements. You want to grab all ranks of Amara. This increases your status effects, deal increased damage over time, and have increased duration, and your action skill status effect deals increased damage. This is just a very nice skill to have. Next, you want to grab all ranks of Tempest. This increases your elemental damage, and shock damage is increased further. Since we're using Illuminated Fist, which increases your melee damage and makes your melee damage deal your action skill element, this helps out with extra damage. Then you want to go over to the Mystical Assault Tree. You want to grab all ranks of Fast Hands. This increases your reload speed, your weapon swap speed, and your mode switch speed. The reload speed, these are all very nice things to have, as you'll be wanting to constantly switch to switch weapons around with this build, and I'll show that in the gear section, so this is just very good. You'll then want to grab 2 points into Violent Tapestry. Applying a status effect grants Amara a stack of Rush, and every stack of Rush consumed, your status effect chances temporarily increase. This is mostly just to get down the skill tree, because this is just a nice bonus. It's not really necessary. Next, you want to grab all ranks of Restless. This increases your action skill cooldown rate, and this is a really important thing because you'll want to be constantly activating your action skill, and the Face Slam action skill has a fairly long cooldown rate. While you're here, you also want to grab Soul Sap. A portion of all damage dealt by your action skill is returned to you as health. This is at first 30%, but if you grab Ascendant, this is boosted up to 50, as Ascendant increases your action skill augments effects. So half of your action skill damage is returned to health, and this is just a nice thing for extra survivability. So that's pretty much the build. It's a pretty good build actually. By itself, it's pretty good. It'll work well enough on Mayhem 3. As for Guardian rank, these are the extra bonuses that I'm getting. So the main things you could look at is I'm getting nearly 15% extra melee damage, and maybe some extra health and action skill cooldown rate. That's about it. Alright, so next up is the gear. The gear I'm using consists of the Buttplug, which is just the best melee weapon in the game. It gives you 110% extra melee damage and allows you to deal double damage on melee strikes. While it can't be anointed, it is still stronger than anything you can get anything else you can get. It's just basically, if you're a melee build, if you're not using this, what are you doing? Next up is a low level Sellout, and this is a very important thing. You need to get a low level variant. Now this is going to be used for proccing mindfulness and keeping your shield down. So basically, you shoot the ground, you proc a bunch of mindfulness, as the status effect is going to proc it, and you run fast. And this also keeps your shield down, so this can help negate the improved shield recharge delay that mindfulness gives you. I then carry around a TDR weapon of your choice. This is mostly for getting second wins if you're going down consistently, and this is just a very good thing to carry around. Yeah, basically for second wins. Also carrying a face puncher, which is this is only here just for mutual obligation, as it's a shotgun that's boosted by melee damage. Might as well carry it around. Plus, it could be pretty useful with this setup. As for the shield, I'm using the Brawler Ward, which gives you 300% extra melee damage whilst depleted, 25% extra weapon damage whilst depleted, which is completely irrelevant, 2% max health when your shields are active, and 4% when your shield is depleted. Very good for survivability. And I happen to got one with the Phase Slam melee damage anointment, which is what you want on this. You want this on your shield. This is what I consider the perfect Brawler Ward. This is the perfect ward shield. This is the perfect shield for a melee build. And then of course we've got the Spiritual Driver class mod, which is boosting 3 points into mindfulness and 2 points into what was that skill again? Clarity. It can also boost helping hands, though I prefer, the extra, though I'd say getting 2 points into clarity is a better thing, because with only 1 extra point into helping hands, you're only getting an extra 4% damage reduction, which I find isn't as useful as the health regen. Ideally, the additional stats you want are going to be either melee damage, action skill cooldown rate, and health regen, or any elemental damage bonuses or resistances. So these aren't ideal, but that doesn't really matter. Grenade is going to be anything of your choice. Ideally, you'd probably want one that gives you a good anointment. I've got one that increases fire damage by 50% on weapons, and this is, not really a big deal at all for a melee build. I just don't have any other good grenades. As for class mods, artifacts, you'll want to carry around a couple. You want to carry around an Unleash the Dragon. This is going to be a very powerful mod if you're going out against enemies that don't have resistances to fire, or against bosses. So if you're going up against enemies that mostly flesh enemies that don't have variants that are fire resistant, or you're going up against bosses, or most bosses in the game, you want to have this class mod on. Otherwise, you'll want to have yourself a Commander Planetoid with a melee with a bonus elemental damage, melee damage effect on it. So this artifact gives you 69% bonus elemental damage whenever you melee an enemy, and the elemental tile switches every 5 seconds. Alternatively, you could also carry around a static charge, as slides and build up a static charge that deal 50% shock damage. And this actually does, like, the more you slide it, this shock damage does go up a lot more. I just find it's not very useful when you're going this far, when you're going super fast. So I prefer the Commander Planetoid. And that's going to be mostly useful for enemies that where you're going up against enemies that have that chance to be resistant to fire, or aren't actually set on fire with the Unleash the Dragon mod, as the Unleash the Dragon mod gives you basically 100% chance to ignite people. And so if you can't do that, switch over to the Commander Planetoid, as this is just a very good class mod as well. This is not class mod, artifact. This is a good alternative. And that is the build. So basically the idea is you want to break your shield. So ideally you want to get a shock weapon of your choice that can easily break a shield. Use the Sellout to keep it down, and activate your active skill, and then run. The main problem with this though is that it can be quite hard to hit your targets when you're moving this fast. So this does require a bit of skill to work, as you've got to actually run into your enemies. And Blitz can kind of break the flow of it, but when it works, it works. So that's basically the build, guys. So I'm gonna leave a montage of me, killing a bunch of shit. So it's gonna be some mobbing, and there's gonna be me killing a couple of bosses, and it's just to show off the build. And it will all be on Mayhem 4, and I'll leave, and I'll show the modifiers that I'm getting for it. Though Mayhem 4 doesn't really give you any big modifiers, so that's not really a big issue. So yeah, if you enjoy this build, hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. Comment down below if you've tried this build out for yourself or knew about the spiritual driver giving you bonus melee damage. I'd like to know if you actually knew about this or if this is completely new to you. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you guys later.